Yo, what's up? It's your boy Greg Gray, Dopeliven TV live. All right. Gonna get in some trouble with this one, but hey, let me start off by saying the views that are expressed on this Dopeliven TV live are not necessarily the views of Dopeliven TV or its affiliates. Having said that, let me set something up real quick first. Hold on. I think we're gonna have a nice little conversation tonight, and I want to make sure that everybody's opinion is heard. So I asked the question, ladies, how do you feel about the term "be obedient to your husbands"? Is there such a thing as being submissive to your mate? And I got a lot of, ooh, you're gonna be in trouble. Why would you do that? Hey, this was brought to me. Shout out to my brother Mike Phillip. Mike Phillip says, I was just going to say, bro, are you looking to start some trouble on a Wednesday? Is today Wednesday? Today's Tuesday, isn't it? Please tell me I'm not going crazy. Mike, you playing with me, right? Today is Tuesday. Because I'm lost. Anyway, yeah, I'm getting some trouble, bro. That's my brother Mike Phillips out there getting ready to do some big things in Vegas and California. He coastal doing his thing. So shout out to my brother. So let's break that down. Now, I know that if you say submission in a marriage to a woman, talk about submission in a marriage to a woman, you get a bad rap. You know, you're like, man, submission. No, submission. I'm not. Anyway, when people hear wives being submit to your husband, they get mad. They think it's demeaning. So let's explore that, okay? I'm saying words 3 or 4 times because I gotta pick and choose my words today. All right, now kind of look this up. Ephesians 5:22 and 23. Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. So, does that mean? Let's put it like this. When they say submission, they doesn't mean you're a servant or that you're inferior or docile or degrading. And it's not a sign of weakness for the woman, okay? It's a sign of strength. It requires a great degree of personal strength and character from that woman. It's a matter of respect. It's a showing of respect to the wife, from the wife towards her husband. That's all it is. It's intended to help her and her husband to live a more contentful, peaceful life together. So that's the biblical idea of being submissive, or wives being in subjection to their husbands. Now, nowadays, I mean, a lot of women are emancipated. They like their way. They like to do this. They like to do that. They want to feel free to do whatever they want to do. Mike says it's Tuesday. My bad, but this conversation could bleed into trouble for me. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. And I think we probably going to have to bend it over into Wednesday as well. So here's my thoughts about that. Yes, the Bible says in Ephesians that the wives should be in subjection to their husbands. That does not mean, again, being a slave to their husbands. Now, yes, it's in the Bible, so it's a form of respect. Ladies may not agree with me, but I want to ask the question, and when the ladies do get on here, I want to ask the question: who wears the pants in the family? Should it be the lady? Should it be the man? Is it because the man may not have as much going on as the woman, and that the woman might think that she has to be the breadwinner, the man in the house? In all aspects, in all truth, the Bible says the woman is supposed to be in subjection to her husband. All right. Krista Wicks. Yeah, absolutely. Husband. Now, Krista, this is a good question because, your platform is the boss wife. Okay. Now, if you can explain what the boss wife, the title means, because I know what it means, and I know that it's in no way disrespecting the man, but it's like as the man grows and it does what he does, what does the wife do? Is she supposed to always sit at home and wait and serve the man? Give her, I mean, she has to be there waiting until he gets home. He's waiting on his food at home. House got to be cleaned by her. She has to stay home and take care of the kids while he goes out, goes to work, comes home, pulls his pants up, and says, "Bring me my beer. Turn the television channel for me," in his regal voice, in his kingly voice, in his uh, his boss voice. But I'm curious, Krista, can you explain what the boss wife, your title of your company is, Boss Millionaires? So yeah, hey man, I encourage everybody, and I'm getting ready to post and share this to a lot of groups. I encourage everybody to get on here and express yourselves because it's something that I think a lot of people take out of context. Yes, there's a biblical explanation for it. For instance, and I'm reading this as well. Genesis 2:18 says, God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him." So when a wife submits to her husband, it's not because she's afraid of his domination or anything like that. It's because she chooses to bless him with her respect of him. She demonstrates that respect by being submissive. Now, submissive means not to always be the one who's overbearing, like or dominant, I should say. A man is the dominant force in any relationship, supposed to be, and the woman is supposed to be the helper, the one to assist him. But in today, and I will give women all the props in the world because there are some fantastic women. Krista Wicks explains that the title is uniquely individual. For her husband is the boss, and she's the neck to the head. She keeps it together as the boss wife. There you go. I got you. I got you. She says, I am the boss in my role. I'm a submissive boss woman. Yeah, and I get that. I get that. Marcel Amos says, biblically, the husband should be the head, the wife, the helpmate, to be there to respect, honor, and work alongside of her husband as a team. Okay, and see, that's a strong woman would say that. Okay, she knows what the Bible says as far as being submissive. But there are people, especially in this new generation, you say submissive to them, you say wise be in subjection to your husband, they'll be like, oh hell no. If he ain't doing nothing, I ain't doing nothing. If he go out and do this, I'm gonna go out and do it. I mean, you can't take it out of context. Ilsa Adams says it means to respect your husband, humbly share your opinion. It means not invalidating him in public. Thank you, sister. Trust his decision as a leader, however. He must have a relationship with God. And I think that's where the basis of that comes from. That's where the understanding comes from. It's you can't take it as being a slave. You have to take it and truthfully, and I hope a lot of people like Ilsa and Marcella, Krista, I hope a lot of people like yourselves speak up tonight, because it needs to be understood. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be understood, because it was brought to me and someone said, somebody told me that I got to be submissive. I got to do whatever he tells me to do, when he tells me to do it, how he wants me to do it. And that's not what it means. That is not what being submissive means. That is not what being, what's the other word that I use? Obedient. Okay. Those are the terms that they used back in the day. wives, be obedient to your husbands, this and that. It does not demean the woman in any way. And as Ilsa just said, it means to respect. It's to share the opinions. You have to be 50-50 in a relationship. Now, there's been songs that said, 70-30, 60-40. Okay. Really, at some points in times, yes, one might have to do more than the other. Okay. But it is not in any way demeaning to either of the partners. It's, and I'm treading water here because I want to make sure that I say this correctly. And thank you, Ilsa, for the comment. It's a, if you're not, I'll say scripturally or what's the word I want to use? Religious. You can be spiritual and religious, okay? But if you don't know what the Bible says and how it's interpreted and how it's to be explained, you're going to always think that it's a bad thing to be submissive. Can men, ladies, answer this? Can men be submissive to their wives? Understanding what the Bible says, okay, but is there an opportunity where the man should say, okay, I'm gonna step back for a second, and I'm gonna let her lead for a moment. Do you all think that that's a possibility, or it's something that should be explored in a relationship? The sharing of duties, the sharing of the household uh, finances, the sharing of the household chores, cooking. The man could cook for her. Is there really a such thing as a house husband? Marcella says absolutely. Because I want it to be clear, which is why I said I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this. I want it to be clear that the connotation of the word submissiveness, the connotation of the phrase "be obedient to your husband," um, it does not mean that he's treating you like a child. It's what the Bible says, basically. It also says, "Happy wife, happy life," and that is another term, another saying that everybody says. Is that necessarily always true, though? What about a happy husband? I know it don't rhyme, but if you always concentrating on making your wife happy, and don't get me wrong, else I agree, but if you're always concentrating on making your wife happy, at what point are you going to make yourself happy? Um, Understand you have to love yourself first, and you can't love another or make another happy until you're making yourself happy. So, um, it's a thin line. Um, Marcella says, example, the woman might be better at finances, so he would be using wisdom to allow the wife to handle that or whatever. It needs to be handled in the relationship. Because Marcella says, happy spouse, happy house. There you go. Krista says, a happy wife makes for a happy husband. Okay, absolutely. I agree. Everybody say what's up to my little sister, Naya.
What's up, y'all?
What's good, girl? Out there putting them advertisements out. She's a financial expert, you guys. So y'all need some financial help. There she is. All right. Nye, what do you think about this subject today?
So let me turn my volume up so I can hear you.
Yes,
Um,
please.
so, um, I so I am, I guess you can say, the guy in my relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a guy. I'm a girl, obviously. Um, and I have like more of like, I guess you could say, a men mentality because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
STEM. So I'm in tune with both my masculine and feminine side. Um, and so I can understand the desire for submission. But I'm also a dominant woman, right? So like even if I was straight, I would be a dominant or aggressive woman, you could say. And so like being submissive is just not in my personality. It's just not who I am. Like I've never been that way. It don't matter who it is. Like teachers, whatever. Like I've never been that way. I'm not a submissive person. I'm not a soft spoken person.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you submissive who is not natural submissive, and that's not their person. Basically, the change personality, which is not cool. Like that's just not who they are. So, but you knew that before you got into the relationship. Most of the time. Sometimes you don't know, and if you know, then that's fine. If you don't know, then you don't know. But if you knew that going into the relationship, and that might have been a turn on at the moment for you, and then you get into the relationship and you realize like that's not who you are. I mean, that's not what you want as a person. You would rather have someone submissive, then you should have had that conversation. You kind of
But
set yourself up.
but again, the Bible, which is the rule book for life, it says, wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the
Let me
wife.
tell you something about the Bible. First of all, not everybody's religious.
We ain't gonna knock the
Um,
Bible though.
Not everybody's religious, so you can't use that to put everybody to a box. Because one, that's not everyone's religion. Two, that's not how everyone lives their life. So just because
Okay.
that's how you live your life, that doesn't mean that everyone else has to. That's not everyone's mentality. So I'm sure there's
Right.
people on here that or who watch the show who the Bible might not mean anything, but you have to understand the Bible is one, it was written thousands and thousands of years ago when women had no power for anything, right? Women just got rights as of recently. You know how many people have walked the earth and lived on the earth for thousands and thousands of years, and women have just in the past century have gotten rights? Like there has just been an amendment in this country only, and there are women around the world, not just thinking of Christianity, but women around the world from other religions who still don't have rights in other countries, right? So any basis of what the Bible said, that's just like saying the Bible says don't eat pork. That's in the Old Testament, but that's not
Yeah,
necessarily how
I
people
never
live
read
their
that.
lives today. Huh?
I never read that.
Yeah,
I
the
never read.
Bible says that you shouldn't eat swine. That's what it says. You shouldn't eat swine because it's not kosher. You shouldn't eat it. Um, but there's people who eat bacon every single day. I mean, you have to understand the time in which the Bible was written, and like the thing about like pork, that's an Old Testament thing, right? So a lot of people are like, well, that's in the Old Testament. The New Testament says whatever. Like either way it goes, but you also have to understand the translation of the Bible didn't come to thousands and thousands of years later. There's a lot of things that are missed in translation, even from language to language, right? Not necessarily a manuscript that was written thousands and thousands of years ago. There's also have been things that are put into the Bible like more recently, like in the last few hundred years. So you have to understand the context of certain things, right? Like that would have been cool maybe 5,000 years ago, maybe in the 15 or 1600s, that would have been a cool excuse to use. Like, oh yeah, the Bible says submit to your husband, but we're in the 21st century. And at that time period, women weren't allowed to work. They weren't allowed to do anything but submit to their husbands. You was looked at as you were crazy if you didn't get married or have kids. Like you were married off. They sent you off. At that time period, people were getting married. Women were getting married off at 12 years old. Like so that's not a good excuse for somebody to use as a nowadays and age that the Bible says a lot of things that are not in context because of the time period it was written in. You
I
cannot
get
continue to use that when there are women who are doctors and lawyers, and now we are viewed now, just now, right, are viewed as equal human beings to a man and still aren't in
it.
some sense. That's not like that's like a sorry excuse to try to utilize, in my opinion, because it's not the time frame that we're in. I get what it says, but you also have to realize like there are some people who just think that there's some people who think that their women shouldn't work. You need to find somebody who doesn't want to work. Like if that's what you want, you need to go find someone who is comfortable with staying at home and raising your 50 million kids that you expect her to have.
Right.
And there's some for everyone. There is somebody for everyone. There are women who have no desire to work. I know people who are like, I want to be a rich housewife. Shoot, and that's cool. That's cool with them. I know people who are like consumed with their career. Like my mom is not a submissive woman. It's never been, never will be. And if my dad were to ever try to sit and tell my mom like she can't work because he wants her to stay at home, my dad wouldn't do that. But if he did, my mom would probably smack the living crap out of him. Like that would have been the one wake up call. If he ain't never had one in his life, he would have got one that day. Because that's her personality.
Let's read a couple of these comments. Marcella says that's why a couple should get to know each other before marriage. Now, Ilsa says nothing has been put into the Bible because God's word never changes. Let's everybody say hello to Gina.
Hi.
I'm in trouble,
Hi,
Gina.
You in trouble? You always in trouble.
I didn't put it out there. Everybody say what's up to Maurice.
Hey, Maurice.
Hey, what's going on?
I put it out there, Maurice.
What's Maurice Ice Cold Pepper?
Maurice Ice Cold Pepper. I put it out there.
Man.
You know, I got to do one a week, man. I got to get in trouble once a week, okay? Shout out Deanna Wilson, Kim Thomas. What's going on, baby? Hope everybody's good. So, you know, and to you guys as well, man. I hope everything's good. So I did. I put it out there. Ladies, how do you feel about the term be obedient to your husband? You know?
Wait. I showed my wife. She did like this. She went upstairs. She went upstairs. So I know where that was going. You know, I mean, you got a lot of people that take a lot of stuff literally. I mean, the vows out of the Bible, and you're supposed to, but some of that stuff is. I mean, you ought to know. Being submitted to a human being. I mean, that's slavery. So I mean, you ought to know. I don't necessarily, and she knows I don't have to necessarily, you know, go around here screaming I'm the king. She know I'm the king, and you know, and I know she's the queen. And in chess, guess what? The queen is the baddest mugged out. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I don't, you know, I don't even push around that issue like that because that is really stupid. I mean, you got some people that run. I know some guys that they base their marriage on that one premise.
Yes,
you know,
I've heard that.
Hey, you know, I'm the dude. You know, whatever I say goes. You don't got no play, no say. You know what I'm saying?
Get mad at her when she speaks.
Break out of arguments, man. I'm like, really? I mean, if you really want to start some conflict in your freaking marriage, do that crap right there.
Gina?
I'm submissive.
Shut your ass up.
Well, you know, and see, I know where she's coming from when she said it. You know, like I said, I my wife is very smart and intelligent, and you know, I'm a smart guy. I take my freaking advice from her, and use it. You know what I'm saying? And she's, you know, as far as things around our house and everything, I mean, just because I'm the man don't mean that I'm everything I say goes. That's it. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. A submissive. I think
Go ahead,
you know, I think that the person should, each person in a relationship is complimenting the other person.
Exactly.
So when somebody says submissive, that could mean a lot of things. I mean, in a way, you can say I'm submissive because there are things that I let Robert handle and I don't touch it.
Okay, so it's good. So, but you said there are things that you handle, he doesn't touch. What about the things that he handles and you you don't? I mean, is he submissive?
No, you didn't hear what I said. I said there are things that Robert handles that I don't touch.
That's what I said. Let's take it the other way. When there's stuff that you handle that he doesn't touch, does that mean he's submissive?
No, I think, like I said, it's complimentary. When I think submissive, I'm thinking, you know, in a relationship, there are some customs in certain countries, certain religions where the woman is submissive, and that's what they practice because that's what they accept as their religion. That's how they grew up. That's what they were taught in their culture. I see that as, you know, some women that you see, they walk behind their husband, they have to cover their head because you can't look in a man's eyes or in their face. That's submissive to me. And that's
their culture.
That's their culture. So it's acceptable.
What about the word obedient? Because that's in the Bible as well.
I mean, somebody can take that word obedient and they can twist it any way they want to twist it and say, well, you don't fix dinner every night, so you're not obedient. Or you don't iron my clothes, so you're not obedient.
They ain't got nothing to do with being obedient.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, people can twist it to make it seem like that's what it means.
That's the reason why we got so many different religions right now, because people taking things in the Bible and twisting it up the way they think they want it to be, you know.
So listen to this. Marcella says she believes that a lot of the reason that women are against being submissive to their husbands is because of society, especially in the African American community. Women have had to step up and be the head of the household. This stems from our history. Women are used to being in charge. Sometimes a woman may have to step back, even if the husband has shown signs of not being able to be the head, just to give him a chance to be the head. Be there to support him and guide him. And I agree and disagree on some of that.
I feel the same way.
I mean, yeah.
I agree with some of it. I disagree with some.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with mostly what you like. I personally I think that it has to do with the type of person that you are. And I forgot who it was. It's a famous person, and I can't remember who it was. But if you what you should be worried about is making each other happy. When you're worried about what makes you happy or what the other person is not doing, like, you're not making them happy either, because you're worried about yourself. So when you focus on I'm supposed to please this person, or I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to do as my portion of the relationship to keep this person happy or to please them and to make sure they're taken care of and in all of their needs, and vice versa, then there is no submissive this and that all of those words go out the window, because you naturally will respond how you need to, because you're both taking care of each other. And you have to understand each person's love language. Every person has a love language, but that doesn't mean
I like
that
Yeah.
your love language is how you want to be loved. A lot of people, their problem is they love how they would like to be loved.
Right.
And
they're not synced up.
They're not synced. That means they're loving based on their love language, not the other person's love language.
Now, see, I wrote something today. I did a post today. Let me read this post to you, okay? Because I write every morning. It's just such things that come into my head. I said it's a known fact that loving somebody can be hard. You risk your heart, you risk your soul. Understand that love is the most important and rewarding investment you can make in another person. The right person. But know that before you commit to loving someone, make an effort to understand their heart, their soul. Be open to the good and the bad, and don't judge. If you have understood their heart and soul, then you will love them just as they are without requiring change. Spread love in the ways you know how, because the love you give is its own reward. Loving someone is a full-time commitment. Use that time wisely. Cherish the high points and fight hard to get through the lows. Nobody said love would be easy, but it is worth it. So having said that, and it goes along with all of this, okay? Submissiveness, obedience, to me, those are words that are taken out of context, but they use those back in the day to hold us down. Okay. A long time.
I believe they use it to hold women down too. I mean,
yes. I mean, as time progressed, yes. Okay. Because back in the day, slaves were submissive. Slaves were they had to be obedient. But then, as it came up to the Virginia Slim days, the women
got a long way, baby.
The women had to be submitted. They were trying to emancipate themselves. Now, is being emancipated right now a form of defiance for that sanctity, for that that phrase, obedience to your husband, or submissiveness to your husband, is empowering yourself wrong to some men?
To some men, yes. I found that to be true. Like, literally, to some people, like, you're not supposed to. Like, you're supposed to stand behind him. You're supposed to let him do. I had someone, okay, so I dated someone in high school, and her parents were like, it was kind of a part of their culture. They're Mexican, and I don't say that for the whole Hispanic culture because I'm Hispanic, and that's not true for all the cultures. Like, that's not necessarily true for the Puerto Rican culture, but I know in the Mexican culture, like that, like the wife staying
That's
home and
strong.
everything,
That's strong.
that's very
That's
strong. Like, it's normal.
hmm
Like, that's just how it is. And she had like things that she wanted to do, and she tried to get a job. It wasn't even like, I mean a job at the grocery store. Like, it wasn't even anything. You know what I mean? And he made her quit. And I literally dated someone else, like, in college. Same thing. She was Mexican, and her father, like, didn't like her mom worked at a school, made her quit, didn't want her to work. Um, and didn't want her to be her own person. And she basically had to be submissive, cook everything, and do all of basically what women have been supposed to be doing for all of history. And there are some men who think that women empowering themselves, even looking nice for themselves, getting like dressed up or wanting to go out with their friends or doing anything for themselves, like part of self care, wanting to study for their own knowledge or whatever. Like, you could be reading a book. There's some men that be like pissed off about that.
Well,
And they find empowerment a problem.
Consider it a threat, huh? Go ahead, Maurice.
my whole thing is just like our culture. It was a big hole where the men weren't able to teach, or bring in a man, bring up a man. So they didn't have that opportunity to show them what a real man do. As far as how to treat their spouses and stuff.
So are you
So,
less? Go ahead.
so I mean, it's a big hole in our culture because of that.
Would you be
But
considered less than a man if you let your wife lead? If you step back and let her
Heck,
do whatever
heck,
and guide her?
no.
Just
Actually, that's a smart move.
not made a good point. Uh, what happened back in the 1800s and BC and whatever. Okay, we're different now, and everything is progressive right now, and so it's in our culture. It's natural. When I say our culture, maybe I should say in the world today, it's natural that a woman steps up and do her thing. Okay, we got a female vice president.
Right.
There's a queen of England. You got a prime minister in some other country, but women can step up and do their thing. Okay, is that a disrespect to the sanctity of the marriage, though?
no,
A strong guy don't care. Usually
right.
strong men don't care. They know their baby's getting it, and you know what? You're gonna keep cheering on like I do mine. Make go and get it. Rock it out, baby. Do what you do. You know.
But
I'm not gonna.
Some
Some
something.
guys can't stand that. I mean, I know some guys that can't stand that if their girl is getting off like that.
But you know what? A point that Marcella brought up was that women had to step up. But think about the reason that women had to step up. We were
That's the other one, yeah.
right. We were they Our race was put in a situation where they wanted to break the man down and tear up the homes and remove the man from the home so that we could be weak as a race. That's basically they wanted to cut off the head.
hmm
And so that put us in a position where a lot of the homes were fatherless because the father was locked up.
Or
And
dead.
so women had to step up. They
Yeah,
had to take on a different role.
yeah.
But even when it comes to the so-called submission, to me, if it's what you want in your relationship, if the two of you decide that, the woman is going to cook every day and stay home and take care of the kids and pregnant and barefoot,
Y'all both made the decision.
you both made the decision. I don't consider it submissive because you have both agreed to it. And that's the way you want your household to be. Whereas someone else may say, hey, the woman here is working, the man is staying home and taking care of the kids. We have all these different situations. And if that couple agrees with it, then that's fine. That's fine.
Here's a super comment. I'm gonna let you get to your comment in a second. Ilsa says, "Love is unconditional. Love is choice. We choose to love. The question is, do you love just because, or do you love in spite of?"
Wow.
Yeah,
I
man.
don't think that you do anything just because if you do something just because, there's no meaning behind it. I think that if you're going to love someone and you love conditionally, you're not loving just because. You have to have reasons, right? Like I don't love my spouse just because I think she's pretty. Like there's reasons why you fall in love. Some people, they choose to love and make it a power move. There's some people who choose to love for other reasons, but I don't think that you should love anything or anyone, spouse, child, or anything that other, just because. Because if you love just because, then it will fail and crumble very easily because you don't have a foundation. Love is supposed to be built on a foundation that comes with, like you were saying, Greg, knowing their heart, having understanding, being a team, like Gina said, complimenting each other. I don't think love is anything of just because if that's the case, then it's probably not love, it's more lust.
Yeah.
I know people talk about things. It's in a book. Give them a book, and this is the way you're supposed to be a husband, or this is the way you're supposed to be a wife. I mean, yeah, that's not your personal thing. You know what I mean? That's not the thing that you and that spouse developed. You know, as somebody else's view.
I would like to say in response to what Gina had said prior to the comment. When like the thing about coming to an agreement, I completely agree with her. Like if y'all to sit down and decide, like this is how we want to do it, then that's fine. But I think also what the problem comes in and the submission part comes in, because like you said, I don't think that's submissive, but I think what happens is when the woman changes her mind and later on, let's say she
Gotta
said,
respect it. Gotta respect it.
Now I did what I was supposed to do. I cooked, I cleaned, I raised the kids. Now I want to go back to school, or now I want to get back into the work field. Now I want to do something for myself. I think sometimes the man gets comfortable, and now that submission in his head, because they had an agreement, and now she's evolved in development, and she can. I mean, she has the right to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I did this, and this is what I did for that period of time. Now I want to explore other options. I'm bored or whatever. No different than you
Well,
changing career.
now basically you hit the nail on the head with us because, you know, it's not that my wife stayed home. You know, we both brought kids to the family to make our family unit from previous marriage. And we had a big long conversation about what is what and who is what before we even thought about getting married. I mean, and the thing about it is we respected those decisions. And when it came time to discipline somebody, or that's the way the rule was. That's the way it was. If it's time for me to whoop some ass, I whooped ass. You know, it wasn't no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. So why did I do that? She knew why. You know, and that was it. And
Man.
vice versa. If she had to whoop some ass, she had to whoop some ass. Now, thing about it is, once the kids got grown, she wanted to do exactly what you said. She wanted to go back to school, get a degree. And she went back to school, and guess what I did? I went to work and took care of whatever need to be taken care of here at the house. Backed up whatever she needed to do, fashion shows, buying, equipment for her to do what she wanted to do. Backed her up 110%.
And see, that's family. That's what a family does.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a guy out there that can really get up here and tell me, Jeff Rutherford, if you're out there, why do men get intimidated when their wife steps up? You know, I don't have a problem. Look, there's a saying, and you guys have mentioned it a couple of times. You know, the woman in the relationship used to be, I guess, programmed to walk 2 steps in back of the man. You know, don't walk in front of him. Okay, me personally, man, she could take at least maybe 5 or 10 steps ahead of me because I want to see that ass. So,
say you're imagining what's going on happening tonight.
I'm just saying, man. You know, I don't have a problem with the women. If you wanna lead and walk
Lead,
in front of me, walk in front of me. I thank you. That's my public service announcement. That is the core comment of the day, right there. Okay?
The core comment of the day.
I think that it has to do with how society, like how you were asking, like, why is that men feel intimidated or whatever the case may be, and I think I have the answer. Matter of fact, I know I have the answer. We have been programmed as society for so long that this is how it is. And we have been programmed that anything less than that is emasculating a man. We have this really big thing about toxic masculinity right now. That is being addressed. I mean, it's always been there, but currently being addressed about toxic traits of people in general. But toxic masculinity is a thing, and it's really because we've been conditioned. I mean, everyone, the entire world. It's not culturally, it's not country based. As an entire society, if you go through any country right now, that is the mentality. And so even in it's like I was saying, Maurice, we weren't in here yet, but I was telling Greg, like, in my relationship, we're both women, right? I have a more masculine energy. I'm not a stud or anything like that. But I'm the more I mean, we're both dominant, but I guess you could say I'm the more masculine dominant one. So I do, I guess you could say, traditional men duties. I mean, whatever, like, duties are duties, just like clothes are clothes. Like, society has provided these responsibilities to men. Go through any country right now, that is the I don't know what happened. But
that was me.
Even in my relationship, like, or even as like a woman, we have sat down and we have had the conversation similar to what Maurice was saying about, like, I was in school when we got together. And we just recently had this conversation where she was like, I want you to do everything that you want to do first. And then when it's my turn, then we can focus on that. And she did exactly what, like, while I was in school, while I was getting licensed, while I was starting up my business and everything, she cooked, she cleaned, she
Go ahead,
fed,
say. Go ahead, say.
she cleaned the clothes. I'm not incapable of doing those things, but that's what she did. That was like our conversation. I mean, she did them voluntarily. I never told her she had to do those things.
Right.
But we had that conversation. She was like, I was like, well, you can always do what you want to do. She was like, no, I want you to be stable first. What you want to do, get everything that you want to do done, and then it's my turn. If she came to me tomorrow and was like, I want to start going back to school, I want to be an esthetician, because she does hair and makeup and stuff. If she was like, I want to go do esthetician or whatever, then who am I to tell her no? But I think as society, it's been like, well, you can't be better than me. I'm the man. Or you can't have more knowledge than me. Or you can't have a better job than me. I'm supposed to be the breadwinner, because a lot of men say I'm supposed to be the protector. I'm supposed to be this. I'm supposed to be the provider.
Step up and do it then.
You just do it. But then just her have a job.
A lot of those guys don't know how to step up and do it because they haven't had an example.
Then them ain't guys, okay? Ilsa is coming with the fire right now. They get intimidated because they are unsure of the men. Lisa Davis says submission means trust.
Yep.
You can't submit to anyone you cannot trust with your well-being. Ilsa says, I am guilty of emasculating a man. There was a crack in the door. I kicked it in. Yes,
boss.
He's got to be confident. She's out.
I learned mine from my my dad. because my dad was my teacher as far as how to treat ladies, and how to raise a family. And I believe that's like Gina was talking about earlier, and like I said earlier, you got to have some kind of example. It's just like driving. You just can't jump in the car, shift it down, and go. You got to know what to do. Somebody got to show you.
That's right, man. I gotta put that up there one more time. She said it was a crack in the door. She kicked it.
Boss.
Woo. Hey, Lisa says submit also means respect. There's nothing wrong with taking on the counsel of your mate, but respect has to be both ways. And Ilsa, Marcella said that's gangster.
It is.
That's true though.
Yeah, she's absolutely right.
I think submission does go both ways. I think
Mhm.
submission, if you're talking in the terms like Lisa was saying, submission goes both ways. Like you have to trust each other. You have to respect each other. I don't think that that's submission, but I get where they're both coming from. Like if you're submitting, you have to be able to trust that person. Like because any type of submission means that you're putting yourself in a vulnerable state, and that's what relationships are. It's vulnerability, right? Like you're supposed to be open with your spouse. That's supposed to be your best friend. You guys are becoming a union. You are one unit. You move as one. Like when I talk about me and Sage, we are one unit. We move as one. We're
Yeah.
separate. Like though we might do separate things, we are one. Like everything about us is one. Whether that be finances, like everything about us is one. And I 100% agree with Maurice in the fact that I think it's smart to let your woman lead or do certain things because one, women have an intuition and not to like bash men or anything, but women are just like smarter.
Hey, man, ain't bashing. That's the truth.
Truth.
Women are just smarter. Like men just don't think. So I work in a financial industry, right? I think the key is knowing what you want and what you are. Yes, I agree with Angela. I don't know if you want to put that up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm going to put it up here right now. Angela says, I think the key is knowing what you want and are a subservient woman or a submissive woman.
Yeah, I think you have to know who you are as a person. But I work in a finance industry, right? That's a male dominated industry, and I'm a female. Though I have a masculine energy. I have both masculine and feminine energy. I'm a female and a male
But
dominated industry.
I bet you everybody in that office know that you know what you're doing.
This is true.
Hey, check it though, real quick. Hold your thought real quick. I want to get these comments in too. Submission is respecting and honoring one another, says Marcella. Lisa says men have to also be willing, as do women, to communicate with one another. This needs to be done prior to marriage
Yep.
or getting into a relationship. Absolutely, that's absolutely true. Go
You
ahead.
don't have no communication.
I was saying that because I work in a financial in the financial industry, I notice a lot of things. So like when I talk to my clients, there are certain social cues that I pick up, right? Men have this thing where there's things that go over their head or they miss or they don't necessarily have the same intuition with body language or tone or mood.
Yeah, we get zoomed every once in a while.
Yeah, like sometimes they know, but like there's a lot of times where like some things like men can't read a room like women can read a room, right? So sometimes when your woman is
That's
telling you
built
something,
in. Yeah.
she know what she's talking about. So like
Yeah, Lord.
there's a lot of things that like I work in finance, but I let Sage run our finance. She runs our finances. I don't I mean I pay attention, but I don't really pay attention because she runs it. Like I have no need to, but it's because there are certain things, even me as being a woman, having more of a masculine energy or having both energies, there are some things that I miss or that I don't pick up on because I have a lot of masculine energy. Like basically in layman terms, I think like a man 90% of the time.
And
There's
walk.
like I I I think a man like 90% of the time. The other 10%, I think like a woman. I'm empathetic and all of that girly stuff, and feminine stuff. But 90% of the time, I think like a man. And like when she brings things to me, I be like, damn. I didn't even think about that, bro. Like, I didn't even, like, it doesn't even cross my mind. And when women are saying things, like, there's a position where they should, like, lead. There are sometimes where they should lead. I don't think that's not being submissive. I think that's just smart, because you will mess up a whole lot less if you guys can work together as a team. And that has to do with just identifying your strengths and weaknesses. Unfortunately, there are things that are biologically going to deem your strengths and weaknesses, in addition to your personal characteristics, your personality, knowledge, that type of thing. But you have to know your strengths and weaknesses, and you have to be comfortable with that and okay with that and communicate. So, like Marie said, there's some things, like Gina said, there's some things that I did that Robert don't touch, and vice versa. You have to know that. So it's a balance. Like, without balance, you're just gonna, like, you're gonna run into this emasculation issue.
And the guy has to be strong-minded and be willing to, take a back seat sometime. He really does. Ilsa says, to Maurice's point, men need an example, a role model. Our young brothers need to stop stumbling at the drumbeat of being a man. Absolutely. Ilsa, you coming with that fire tonight, girl, for real. Definitely coming.
You got a whole different setup now.
Look at Gina. She's in the light now. She's not a vampire anymore.
I moved. For some reason, the other room is dark. My picture shows dark. I don't know why.
It's all good. But the comments shine bright. Okay, we appreciate you, sweetie. Most definitely. So yeah, I mean, everybody, we are talking about being submissive. Is there such a thing as being submissive from a woman? Being obedient to her husband. I mean, we're in the 21st century. Things are different. Things have changed a long time ago. Women are empowering themselves. Okay, I got this video I want to show y'all. While we take this break, we'll take a real quick break. This is like 4 minutes, but I'm not gonna play it all. Okay, this young lady, I don't think she understands everything, but it's what it really means to be submissive. Y'all check her out. Okay.
Peace, family. So in this video, I want to talk about the dreaded S word. And the reason I call it the dreaded S word, because I know a lot of sisters, when they even hear the word submit, they automatically shut down. They don't want to hear anything about submitting to a man. And that is understandable, because a lot of times when we think about submitting, we think about that Bible verse, slaves submit to your earthly masters. So we associate the word submit to slavery. But that is a completely imbalanced definition of the word submit. And that is not how you submit in a relationship. You don't submit to a man that tries to silence you. You don't submit to a man that tries to make you feel inferior. You don't submit to a man that tries to make you feel like you're beneath him or inadequate in any way. You submit to a man because he uplifts you, because he elevates you, because he honors you. You submit to a man because he does whatever he has to do to make sure your needs are provided for. You submit to a man because he is literally willing to put himself in harm's way and lay his life on the line if need be as your protector. And when you submit to him, that still doesn't make you his slave. What you're doing is basically pouring into him or providing him with things that he needs in order to make sure you have what you need. For example, let's say you want an empire and you tell your man, King, I want an empire. And he starts strategizing and putting together a game plan to execute to make sure you get that. But you're going to have to cooperate. He's not going to do it all on his own. And so he's going to tell you what your role is and what is required from you to make this a possibility. And a lot of times brothers don't even require a lot. He might just say, look, we're going to do this. It's a possibility. But what I need from you is I need from you to be devoted to me. I need for you to support me. I need you to respect me. I need you to appreciate me. I need love and affection from you. I need nurturing from you. I need my sexual needs met from you. And because I'm out here doing, working, draining myself. I'm killing myself out here to make sure you have what you need. I'm dealing with all these stressors in life as a black man in general. So what I don't need is another stressor when I come home. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want you stressing me out. I shouldn't have to come home to dirty piles of clothes on the floor. I shouldn't have to throw a Hot Pocket in the microwave because I'm hungry. You know what I mean? That you doing these things for him is not you being his slave. If he's not asking you to do anything that is going to jeopardize your safety, your dignity, or your integrity, you should be more than willing to do these things, because what you're really doing is providing him what he needs so that he can give you what you need. You are recharging him. You are pouring back into him all the things that are being drained from him while he is out here in this world. And so that is what it really means to submit to a man. And no woman in the world should be in resistance to that, because that is not going to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. And when you don't do that, what you have is two assertive people in a relationship. And assertiveness is the masculine, what submissiveness is the feminine. And when you have two assertive people in a relationship, you're just going to keep bumping heads. You're going to have two stubborn people, you know, and neither one of them are having their needs met. And that type of relationship never lasts, you know. And also at the same time, you don't want two submissive people in a relationship. There are ways that a man can submit to a woman, but that's an entirely different video. But you don't want a man to be overly submissive, because if you're both submissive, you know, nothing will really get done if nobody is putting their foot down. You know, for example, this is an example everybody can relate to. Let's say you're out on a date with your boo or whatever, and he's like, Queen, where do you want to go? What you want to do tonight? And you're just like, oh, whatever you want to do, King, it's up to you. And he's like, no, it's whatever you want to do. We can do whatever you want to do. And y'all both keep saying whatever you want to do. You're submitting to the needs of the other person. And meantime, y'all just wasting time sitting there looking foolish in the face because nothing is being done. You know what I mean? So you need that balance. You need somebody to be assertive. Somebody needs to be submissive. And because it is the man that is the protector and the provider, it is the man that should be more assertive and the woman that should be more submissive. And yes, he will be in control, but you as a woman will be in charge. And neither position is more powerful or more relevant than the other one, because we charge men. We put the batteries in their backs. Like I said, we pour back into them what is being drained from them. We are the inspiration for their actions. And so that is what it means to be submissive to your man. It's absolutely nothing wrong with being submissive to your man. So don't let these Caucasian feminists fool you into thinking that being submissive to a man is a bad thing, because most of these Caucasian feminists have husbands.
Okay, she had a mouthful, didn't she? Okay, real quick, man. Angela Hargrove says a woman
Wow.
can be submissive. She just needs to know that the man she's with can make her feel protected. She says she got hella masculine energy, so that the man that comes into her space has to feel that he can balance that. This brother, Joseph Fields, Joseph Fields, man, very spiritual brother, man. Shalom, I'm sorry. Who you follow determines what you follow, what follows you. And just because you're a male doesn't make you the head. You must be established there by him, H-I-M, Selah.
Yes,
sure,
that
absolutely.
is so true. So all I want to say about her video is,
Someone to say
that is a lioness. Woo. I'm thinking to myself, what?
You have to determine who you're with. I'm not gonna be like a horse. I'm not gonna let a horse walk off a cliff. You lead a horse to a cliff, it'll walk off the cliff. You have to know who you're with. If that man can lead you, that's fine. But you have so many men that have been raised by women that don't even have a man in the home to teach them that they're trying to lead women, and the woman is a horse. Like they don't know what direction to go in. They don't know which is they butt and which is they head. And so no, I'm not gonna let anybody like that lead me. I'm just saying.
I kind of feel like he was holding the camera. He was like, I'm just like, hey man, look, actually, Angela says no, not a horse. No, a horse won't walk off a cliff.
It was strong. The force was strong with that one. I'm telling you, man, that is a strong. As soon as you go like this, yeah. And you know, I got pumped after that. I said, yeah, there you go, babe. Man, that is right there.
I just don't know.
That's the way my wife is, 110, just like that.
Yeah, but that girl. Anyway, Nye, what you think, man? You sitting there silent. What's on your mind?
All right.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Ooh, I know, right?
So
That's 100,000 watts.
Joseph Field says it's much deeper than that. Go ahead.
This lady. Okay. I have like several problems with what she said. First of all, it is it's not your job as a woman or a person in general to pour back into somebody else. It's your job as a human being to fulfill yourself. My grandmother always says, like, you can't, first of all, there's no such thing as making each other happy. You have to be happy first. They have to be happy with themselves. And then you come together and you share that happiness so that it's like a transfer of energy. Everything in life is an energy, right? So, like, how in the world do you think that a woman, you're being drained, right? And you have drained energy, negative energy, and you come home, why you got these clothes on the floor? Why you ain't cook me no hot meal, bro? Like, you're gonna come home, think that your energy or lack thereof is draining her, and you think she's just supposed to take that, and you think that because you went out in the world and dealt with some stressors, that she doesn't have other stresses, and that you bringing home that negativity is not going to impact her, and she's just supposed to take whatever energy she has, her positivity, whatever she has, and basically transfer that to you when you don't have anything to transfer back but negativity. Please.
Here we go.
But you know what? The young lady is speaking on the traditional household. Most households are not traditional anymore, where the woman is at home all day and the man is out working.
Well, and she's also speaking as a backup. You know, I back up my wife. She goes out there and do her thing, and she comes in and she's able to talk to me. You know, she's able to communicate to me what happened to that day, and we're able to come with, you know, some kind of, okay, this is what happened there. We ain't going there no more when I go to work, you know, or whatever experience she had that day. I'm that ear that she could bend, and vice versa. I can bend her ear, you know.
Hey man, a horse got sense and sensibility to pull the back when it senses danger. It's the fool that's riding the horse that's in question.
Fire,
I like
fire.
that, Angela.
But like the thing
That's
is,
book
even if you
material
were
right
staying
there.
at home, even if you were staying at home, like, you're still taking what you're drained, and you think that the person that you're coming home with is supposed to fill you back up. And yes, they're supposed to be like your comfort. They're supposed to be a safe space, right? And all of that for you to communicate, for you to build to. But you have to realize you can train another person with who you are. It's no different if we take out relationships. It's no different than your friendships or your relationships with other people, right? There's always that one friend, and I'm sure everyone has had one in their lifetime, that they're always depressive, they're always, something's always wrong with them. And
The energy suckers.
yeah, you're the friend that they go to vent to, and as soon as you're done with that conversation, you're so mentally, emotionally, and physically drained. You're just like, oh my God.
I don't want to ever take my wife there, and I'm pretty sure she don't want to take me there. That's not what I mean by that.
Exactly.
You know?
And I think that that's my problem with that woman was saying, was that basically what she was saying to me was take. The man is take. And the woman is give. And even though you might be building that empire for her, you still have to, like, it still has to be a balance. You know what I mean?
But did you hear what she said when you know, they asked about going out, you know, and she turned around and gave it back to him, you know, where you want to go.
Hey, Wilson says if her
Oh
man,
Lord, have mercy.
if her man is
Eddie
hard
Murphy
home,
metaphors got to go.
hey, Ilsa says that if her man is hardworking, bringing home the bacon, you can best believe he's gonna have a hot meal, a hot bath, and some good loving.
Woo.
Let's not be confused. I can hold my own too.
Okay, but what if you're working? Like Gina said, like, we're not talking about the 1950s.
Yeah.
Most women, first of all, to live in this society, most of both people have to work. I don't know about you, but not everybody that I know is a millionaire or is making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I said not everyone, okay? Or
They
making
don't even know you.
right. Like, come on now. Making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in this day and age, in order for most people to survive, both people have to be working. And if one person isn't working, a lot of times there's even more financial stress on the relationship. So her comment, back to what Gina was saying, is very 1950s mentality. Because I get it. If you at home all day and there's no kids, let's say there's no kids, because that is a full-time job itself. Cleaning and everything like that is still a full-time job. Running errands, making sure all the things around the house is taken care of, bills are paid, like that is a full-time job. You just don't get paid for it. Like it is a full-time job. It's no different than any other job. You just don't get paid, and you work all this overtime and you're not rewarded. But like, I get you cooking and doing these things if you don't have nothing to do all day. But in this society, in this day and age, it's not the case. So if you come home from work and you're tired and exhausted and had a long day, what makes him think that you just supposed to stop what you know, relax or whatever and go cook him something just because, like, y'all in the same boat? No, like, you gotta step up sometimes and cook dinner sometimes too.
Now I'm gonna tell you through thick and thin. Sometimes that happens on both ends. Men have to do it and women. Because my wife has gotten sick to where she couldn't do the things she used to do. And you know what I'm saying? I had to go to work, come home, and talk to her, boost her up or whatever, and still keep it going as far as work is concerned. But she knew I was backing her up. But when that time passed, she knew that this man was taking care of her the best way he knew how. You know what I mean?
So, and that's what should happen. A relationship, you're supposed to complement each other. Your man is not the one who's supposed to make you happy, and you're not the one who's supposed to make him happy. You're supposed to make yourself happy, but you should complement each other in a relationship. If you're doing more in the relationship than you were doing when you were by yourself, there's something wrong there.
Ooh.
Something wrong.
That other person should compliment you, though. I mean, my whole thing is when I met my wife, I probably didn't have two nickels to rub together. You know what I'm saying? If they was a quarter inch from each other, I didn't have jack. That woman actually helped me, get things together. And so there's nothing in this world that I wouldn't do for her. You know what I mean? And she's been there through the nothings on to the something, to where she don't have to work. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes it shifts. Sometimes it's more responsibility on one person than the other, and it may shift the other way.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with that too. But think about the women who were in submissive relationships, and I know that we all know some. Think about the women that were in submissive relationships. When those relationships ended, what did they say? They said they lost themselves in the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
They lost themselves.
Elsa says she's not saying that, Naya, but she does work and she works hard. And she says, "Excuse me, Naya, I'm a single, educated, hardworking woman." And I said, "If my man." She holds it down by herself. And Angela says it's more about balance than it is compliment.
Woo.
Well, I mean, yes. When Gina says compliment, I think I can attest to her saying that is a balance. When you compliment each other, that does create balance.
Yeah.
But
here's the thing. And what I'm getting from all of you guys, and you guys are getting some great comments. All right. Marcella says that would be losing your identity. Elsa says mortgage, car note, HOA, insurance. I pay all the mother. Oh, is that mother? that's not what it says.
I hold it down.
My bad, Elsa. Okay, is that there? She pays all of the bills. She's just waiting for her king. Here he is, Elsa.
You know what's so crazy? I know another sister like that. She's in finance. And she waited for a king. Then the guy finally showed up. They got married. I kid you not, it took like 6 months, but she knew exactly what she wanted, and she had her own things going on already. She had her own house paid for, houses, cars, and things. And
that's my man. Look, ooh, mortgage condo. Elsa, let me put that back up there. Hold on. Mortgage condo, HOA insurance.
homeowner association.
Girl, look, I'm gonna be like Dave Chappelle and Oprah, man. Look.
Yeah, they have one baby.
Elsa having my baby. Elsa's man.
Look, I know it's a generational thing going on here, and I think there was a kind of a rift in the generations that has caused what you know, some of your responses, and I can see it and feel it. I mean, I come from a time where the man taught his sons how to treat a woman, period. And then I can remember in the 70s where a lot of that fell off. Versus now, shoot, these guys, you know, they get how they treat a woman off the TV, the internet, every place else, but from their daddy.
Ladies,
but
let me
you
tell
know
y'all
what?
this.
I actually, it has nothing to do with generational, and I'll tell you why. So my great grandparents were married. Though your experience coming from a time was where you learned how to treat a woman, a lot of people in that time period came from abusive relationships with men, and you see it all throughout history because they were supposed to be submissive to the men.
I said a man.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that throughout history, that's been carried. Like, it was okay up until like recently, like the last maybe 20, 30, well, maybe like 35 years. It was okay for like a man to hit a woman, and they were just supposed to take it. So, and that was in my grandparents' generation. And so, no, not necessarily generational. My grandmother is not married. I mean,
That's
she
being a sparring partner.
was married, and that didn't work. But like, I grew up, my great grandparents were together. I have my family that are from that generation that were married. My grandmother wasn't married. My parents are married. But it's not necessarily a generational thing. About there's always been men that didn't know how to treat each other. My great grandfather cheated on my great grandma. It's always been men. It's not nothing new. So it's not necessarily generational. Yes, there may be new issues in different ways, but history repeats itself. So it's not new. It's not necessarily generational. It's just we're more progressive now with different laws and amendments and things in place for women. It's just more progressive. It's not new. And I've experienced in my history. Like, it's not new. It's just history always repeats. It's the same thing with the racism and other things that are going on in this day and age. It's repeating. It's just different. It comes in different ways. It's just a repetition, though. It's just repetition.
So you're saying it corrects itself as it goes along? It's self-correcting as generations pass?
No, I'm not saying it's self-correcting. I'm saying it comes again and displays in other ways. Like, society progresses, right? Like, back then there wasn't technology. There was issues. We have more technology. We have more medicine now, right? But history always repeats itself. We were slaves. Today, if you look at society, we're kind of like modern day slaves. Back then, we was a civil rights movement. Today, we are experiencing the exact same thing. It's just in a different format. And so,
different name, BLM.
It's kind of the same thing, but in a different way, right? Like, this submission, all of these things when it comes to women and all these issues, it's like the same thing. We're just more progressive now. Like, women can speak now. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? We can do things like protest as like a community. That it's
and not
more,
worry about any. And not have to worry about any repercussions.
Yes,
like
if a woman gets hit, and something happens, domestic violence. Back then, she was getting hit, and then that's why they call it a wife beater.
That's why I say again, a generational thing too. I mean, things move from one generation to the next. You know, it opened back up, things progress, so it's a generational thing.
Well, you know what? Check this out. I don't think a lot of men want to subscribe to the train of thought of being submissive, okay? Of not being submissive, but of having a submissive woman. We want to be leaders, but we also want to make our significant others happy, you know. And when you say submission and obedience, you're talking about dictatorships to me, okay? And that that's not going to make a happy relationship at
No.
all. And as we go along, man, you get much more accomplished if everybody's on the same page, if everybody's equal, equal when you come into the marriage, but at times you have to shift responsibility. That way you can get more things accomplished. And being on the same page from a man's viewpoint means taking her feelings into consideration, her thoughts, her ideas, her conversations, taking those into consideration when we are deciding how to lead the relationship. You know what I'm saying? So the word submissive, I mean, it's subjective to me. Joseph Hill says, when I counsel couples heading toward marriage, I ask the question, what are you getting married for?
That's a hell of a question. A lot of them can't answer.
Everybody say what's up to Uji.
Oh, your mom.
I'm pretty sure he get a lot of
people.
I'm pretty sure he get a lot of, oh, I love him or I love her. That's probably the first response.
That's really not the answer.
Yeah, that's what I said. They don't never get the answer. They never. I mean, hell, I've been married for I've been together for 30 years, and I can name y'all 15,000 things, but they're not the answer. But the answer is those things that a combination of those things. So I mean, there's not just one answer that says, okay, that's it.
And I think there does have to be a shift of responsibility sometimes, because like my mom was getting her PhD. My dad had to step up. She was getting her PhD and working, and it was very strenuous. So like the responsibilities that you could claim are the woman's responsibilities, which is crazy. He was cooking, like he was cooking dinner. He was making sure like my brothers got up and was able to get to school in the morning before he went to work. Like he was doing the things. He was doing the laundry. He was, you know what I mean? Like he was making sure the house was, clean and all types of stuff while she was doing what she needed to do. And that is, to me, in my mind, that's leading. Like, because if he did nothing and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to school, and he did absolutely nothing, like the house would have just fell apart. You know what I mean? Like that's not taking a lead. You being like, that's not my responsibility. Like you just gonna. I know there's some people who are like, you just gonna have to figure out how to do it all, and that's not leading. That's not. I don't think that that's leading as a spouse. I really don't care about the whole gender thing, whether it's man or female. In a relationship, like that's not balanced and that's not beneficial to either party. Like that's just not gonna accomplish anything. You're not gonna move forward. I do think that sometimes responsibilities shift and you have to communicate. It's not like you didn't know it was gonna have to shift. I mean, just people are just not open to the mindset of like sharing responsibilities, or not open to the mindset of taking turns of sharing. Like, you know what I mean? Like sharing is caring.
Again, we're in the 21st century, and things are a whole lot
My
different.
mind got it twisted.
Angela Hargrove says, in my mind, we've gotten it twisted. A woman that's independent, pays all her bills, etc., got her shit straight prior to the man can sometimes get in her own way. Because I believe a man that's looking for a woman has his shit together. He don't care what she has. He needs to know he can give her something she doesn't have. He needs to be needed. And if that independent woman is too independent, she won't even see what she truly needs. She's stepping in her way.
I agree with her.
Did you have anything to say about the subject today? We're talking about being obedient to your husband and being submissive to your husband.
I mean, of course. I mean, of course I got something to say.
Of course. Go ahead, my brother.
And the whole thing about, everybody got, what I've heard, been good points and stuff. But, when you get married, it's not, quote unquote, it's not, well, we married and you have to play this part, you have to play that part. The only part you have to play is love each other, and anything that the other needs with that love is done. You know what I'm saying? Because you love that person. It ain't that, okay, I'm a man, so I'm a man, so you got to cook. I'm a man, so you got to clean. I'm a man, you got to wash my clothes. No, it's all about opportunity. You know what I'm saying? If a person is busy and this, that, and the other. You know, we was raised on cleanliness. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't that my daddy would wait for my mom to clean the house. You know what I'm saying? If she was gone, if she was out of town, who's doing it? Who's doing the cooking? Who's doing whatever? You know what I'm saying? Because they love each other and they building a family of love. You know what I'm saying? All this, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then when it comes to independent women and this, that, and the other, you know, when you say independent women, that means that, you know, you're supposed to stay by yourself forever. All right. That don't mean you're supposed to be getting a man and then calling yourself independent, because that's not a joint communication at all. If you gonna say you independent, you can have a good job. That don't mean you're independent. You got a man there. If you got a man or if you got a woman, you know what I'm saying? However it go, independent mean you by yourself, period. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to be strong upon independency and you know, that's what you're gonna do. You stay by yourself. Don't look for no man, because your expectations are too high. 9 times out of 10, if he just want to love you and do what he can around you and this, that, and the other, and you want to throw up independent in his face, that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Because a relationship is a joint.
That's right.
You can't make independent into a joint.
That's right.
That word could be defined or explained to be 2 people. Independent is 1 person. So as far as an independent woman goes, or an independent man, however you want to put it, you know what I'm saying? They have to actually, if it's about a relationship, independence not in that relationship. Most definitely, it's not in that relationship. You know what I'm saying? When you get married and different things of that nature, you love somebody. If she just tired, you know, we hungry. I'm not gonna be like, you know, get your tired ass up and go make me some food.
Damn.
Like how that came out, though.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, you know, that's not something that a loving couple do. And, you know, we all got things to learn being in relationships. A relationship is a giant learning experience. You feel me? You don't know everything when you jump into a relationship. You know, I'm still learning. You know, the things I say, I have to still perfect. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have no problem doing it. Just to be real with you. You feel me? It's just a lot of things that deal with the topic that you got, and the subject should be love. Get your time.
What you say? Ashtray. So what y'all see Fall from Grace? Ashtray B.
But that's the subject. If you love somebody, you gonna do what you gotta do. Like they say back in the day, if we was in a boat and the boat flipped over, you gotta save somebody. You gotta save the ones you love.
Hey man, that comment though, that reminds me of what when Kevin Hart did some stand-up, and he got in trouble at school, and his mama said, "This is what I want you to go to school and tell her." You tell her that I'm gonna come up to school and I'm gonna talk to her. And then he get to school, his guys are coming at him. He's like, "It's about to go down." My mother said,
"Get your
mother."
My mother told me to tell you to mind your damn
mother.
It is.
But see, you know what? But you know what? Seriously,
people haven't what?
Seriously, we gotta actually, you know, what was real, what happened back in the 70s and I'll say 80s and 60s and 50s and 40s. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That was like real stuff, you know. And the whole thing about it is the generation now don't know a lot about it, because what we got 30% of people getting married now. You feel me?
Yeah.
Everybody want to share together and different things of that nature, which means that there's really no commitment. I mean, you can be committed, but at any point in time, you could be like, okay, this is over, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? In a marriage, people do that. They say, okay, this is over and I'm out. But it's a long road to actually getting out. All right. When you're not committed, it's not a long road to getting out. All right. It's all emotions and feelings. So what we got to do, and you know, that's the examples we take. You know, our parents laid example for us. They got married and they tried to make it work. If they didn't, they end up getting divorced. You know, ain't nothing perfect except for Jesus. You feel me? And his Father. But
I got a comment that was sent to me. It says, "Call me old-fashioned, but I allow my husband to wear the pants. It doesn't mean I'm weak or don't make any decisions. It means I know when to shut the f up and let my man be a man. I married him because I love and trust him. So what he says goes. Many relationships don't work because women don't know how to let a man be a man. I'm no ventriloquist dummy in my relationship because my husband doesn't abuse his authority." And that's the
Exact.
question mark, in quotation. "And trust and believe when I need to
Trust.
intervene and borrow his pants, I will." Women's problems is they marry men they don't trust.
Trust.
If you
There
trust
we
your
go.
husband, then submitting comes easy. Keep listening to your single friends and you'll be just like them, single with 10 cats and a vibrator.
You know, that,
Trust.
that sounds
I
that,
Trust.
think
sounds, that
that
actually sounds like a loving couple.
I think
Trust.
that so I'm gonna go back to what Uji was saying about the independent thing. Because I agree and disagree with not that statement, but the previous statement about being independent. I don't think that her independence is what gets in her way. I think that I agree like 100% with what he said about like you paying your bills, you making sure your shit is together. What she said, and making sure your bills are paid. You have somewhere to live. Like that's called life. Like you supposed to do that. I don't think that makes you independent. I just think that looks like you doing what you're supposed to do for your life. Like technically, nobody is responsible for you, like, and they shouldn't be. Anything that somebody does should be as a desire that they want to take care of you. What I do, so I don't agree in the sense that like she gets in her own way because she has all of those things together and the man feels like he doesn't have anything to offer because she already has a car, she already pays her bit. Like I don't think that's what that part is correct. I think when it comes in where he feels like he can't add any value and where a woman might step in her own way is the mentality. I can't speak for other communities, but as a Black community, I can speak on this. I feel like that meant where her mentality comes in, where she gets in her own way, is that if we say after like the 70s, going into like going into the 80s and 90s where women really had to step up, let's say after Black Wall Street and they burned it down and they really wanted to separate Black homes and they started taking the men out of home and there was all these mass incarcerations and all of these things. Women had to become independent. So then they start to teach their kids that this is how they taught them. You don't need a man. That this is the problem. Not that to take care of yourself. It was you don't need a man. You don't need anybody to provide for you. You forget what he say. He does this and this, then leave him, and all of these other things that has literally spiraled out of control and has, I agree with, kind of made it impossible for a man to shoot his shot and feel like he has value to add to a relationship. I don't think it's necessarily that she has her life together because you're supposed to have that. I think it's that the mentality of women has changed. I definitely think that you should have your life together. You should pursue whatever you want to. But I think that, yes, everything should be done in compliment out of love. And I think that women do get in their own way. I get in my own way. My wife is smart as shit. Okay? Excuse my French, but she is super smart. And half the time when I don't listen to her and she tells me that not to do something or gives me a suggestion and I don't listen to her and I don't allow her to lead or vice versa, like most of the time she's right about whatever it is that she had to say, like 99% of the time. And I think that comes with like, well, I trust her, but like, I think it comes with the defense mechanism and the trust thing and all of that. I do think that you have to vice versa be comfortable with your spouse. I think sometimes it's appropriate for the woman to lead depending on the situation, just as it is a man. But I agree with Uji. I think that it's a balance. Like I'm not gonna tell her if she told me I'm tired, can you cook? No, get your ass up and cook me some food. Like I'm not. That's not how love works. And and I 100% agree with him on that. I think that um everybody is pretty spot on. I just think that there's a mentality that has been developed specifically in the Black community. Like I said, history repeats itself, and we're in a progressive era. So like not everything is peaches and cream, because I don't think that the 1950s and the 1960s was necessarily the best time as far as for women, because they were literally getting the living crap beat out of them, some of them, a lot of them, in those relationships. But I think it did teach balance in a way. And I think that what we've strayed away from, people don't want to get married, is because they don't know how to compromise and like communicate. Like people suck at communicating, especially in my generation.
That's what I'm saying.
Very important.
That's where things, you know, it stopped. Everything stopped. Like I said, people don't want to get married no more, and that's the and getting married and understanding. I mean, you know, a lot of women got beat on, but a lot of more women didn't. I'm gonna say that more women didn't get beat on.
That percentage was small. It was exaggerated by to put a bunch of us in jail. You know?
Real life on everything. More of them didn't get beat on and abused and different things of that nature. So you know, it's the stories people hear sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Might throw them off, and you could believe and make them to believe that. But a lot of instances were actually in love. You know what I'm saying? People back in the day, they got married to stay together. You know, you feel me? They got married to stay together. They got married because of love. And as far as independency goes,
it was an understanding.
It's like you know, I know women that are independent, make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying, and do everything for themselves. But if a man can show them some things to be happy and not have as much as they have, they adore them just as much. A man don't have to have more than a woman, because I mean, you know, that's some women are all the way up to the stars, but some of these men are able to show them the type of love that they not gonna get nowhere else, and they accept that love. You don't have to be just as rich as her. You know what I'm saying? I just stepped to a bunch of women that was way more well off than I was, and they just loved the shit out of me. They hated for me to go when I was ready to go, tired of her butt. You know what I'm saying? Didn't want me to go. You feel me? Because I showed her how a woman's supposed to be treated. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to concentrate on as my message is. It's about how you treat somebody. All right? Money is not the main thing in life. Money's made to pay bills, to live good. You know, to be content is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Because contentment can be a lovely house, this, that, and the other, and another person to enjoy that with you. You feel me? If you're gonna study have a gripe or a problem about how much this man making or this woman is making, and not live good, not be happy, that's the problem right there. You're not happy.
You're not happy. Let me read a couple of these. Let me read a couple of these comments real quick. Angela Hargrove says, "We twisted independence with dependency. Why the hell wouldn't I depend on the person I'm committed to?" Joseph says, "A man will love whom he will serve. He will also love who serves him. He hates whom comes beside him. With that, he is established by him. That woman who served him, she will experience love unconditionally." Selah. Ilsa says her parents were married for 50 years and they loved each other. And when her father got sick, her mom continued to work. Bottom line, they loved each other.
I can remember my great grandparents, and when they passed, one passed one day, the other one passed 3 days later, and they were married for 75 years. That is, I mean, they were. I think my great grandfather was like 97. My great grandfather just 95. You know, but then it goes back. Couldn't live without each other. We always said that one died of a broken heart. You know, and those are the kind of examples I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But this is my grandson. I gotta go, but this is my grandson. This is Carter.
Hey, Carter, what's happening?
Let's see his hair. Let's see his hair.
There's your grandson. Yeah.
Hey, Carter. Hey, Carter.
Hi, Carter.
All right, we're gonna say bye. Can you make fists like this with his hand?
Power to the people.
Power to the people. Love y'all. I'll see y'all again tomorrow.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, so it's just a conversation that we're having. Everybody made some great, 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 great points. Okay, now I respect, you my little sister, you and Sage. I think you guys got the perfect relationship, core couple of the year. All right,
All right. All right.
Us
but
and
she's
Marcus
very
Ice Cold Pepper.
Maurice Ice Cold Pepper, and everybody that commented today did a great job, man. Okay, we're not off yet, of course, but basically, man, and again, someone brought this to me, and I wanted, what's up, Stacy Bogan? I wanted to put it out there, okay, knowing full well what some of the repercussions might have been, okay,
Ooh.
but we really needed. It's something that I think needs to be defined. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean just talked about, but define what the word submissive in a relationship means. It's not anything that's demeaning. It's not anything that means it's subservient. Okay, it's just being. I call it not arguing. Okay, let's know our place. I
Got to
don't
keep conflict out of your life. That's the biggest thing.
I don't like arguing. I really don't. And in a relationship, when you argue all the time, okay, for me, it shuts me down. Okay, we talked about getting, checking out, yesterday. It shuts me down. I don't like to argue. I don't like yelling, which I don't do anyway. I'm not going to yell. I might raise my voice a little bit, but I'm not going to yell. And it's a matter of respecting each other. Can a man be submissive? Yes, he can. All right. Joseph said it just there. A man who will love whom he will serve. He will also love who serves him. It's a 50-50 thing. Okay. You got to show some, they got to show some. Naya?
I think I've come up with a better way to express what people might mean when they say, Angela wants to know when we're going to talk about poly relationship.
Like Polly want a cracker? I mean, it was a parent relationship. What's
So
she
like
talking?
polyamorous. Yeah, polyamorous.
What is that?
That's when you have multiple partners.
Let's
Whoa.
talk.
Like basically a open relationship.
Let's talk about it. Such thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like some people who have multiple partners, like I think
Be
you have
careful
to.
what you ask for, son.
I think that I think there's a
That
problem
part.
with it. Not with it in general. I think you have to establish what works for you, and you have to be upfront with the person. Like, don't get into a relationship and then decide, like, I like polygamy, and I need to have multiple sexual partners or whatever the case may be, and then catch the person off guard, and they're a monogamous person, and they only like monogamous relationships. You can't do that to somebody. You have to allow that person the opportunity to make a decision for themselves before they get emotionally attached. I feel like, and I feel like when it comes to the whole submission thing, I think the better way to express it or to explain it is I'm letting you have your turn. It's like opening the door for someone.
Man,
It's
you
nice.
have energy.
It's something it's nice to do. You have to open the door for someone sometimes. Like I don't always open the door for Stacey. She doesn't always open the door for me. I think it has to do with your understanding and your communication, right? And yes, when you trust the person and you love the person that you're with and you're comfortable with them, like doing things for them comes easy. It's not I wouldn't call it being submissive. It's just like it's not even a thought process at that point. Like you want to please them. Like I'm gonna cook dinner because I think it will put a smile on your face. Like it's not even like I need to do this because this is my job. Like Sage have been asking me to clean up here. Like we have our own separate bathrooms because she just makeup hair. I don't have time for all that. I'm very simple. And so she had been asking me because my brothers came over last weekend and spent the night, and she's one of those people. Sage is Puerto Rican. I know a lot of you haven't seen her. Greg has seen her. And she's Puerto Rican and black, but she's raised Puerto Rican. Her mom is Puerto Rican, and they are like black people are clean freaks, but Hispanics are clean. I mean, her mom, like if she don't smell the Clorox, it's not clean. So, on Friday have any appointments for any clients or anything, before she even woke up, I had cleaned the entire upstairs. I cleaned the room. I cleaned my bathroom. I cleaned the loft where I normally am. And before she woke up, like everything was done. I took out the garbage and everything. And it wasn't like I just didn't have time to do it. But it wasn't that it was a chore. Like it's my job to do this. It was just like, let me do this because I know that she'd been asking me and it would make her feel better.
It'll
And
make
when
her feel better, right?
yeah. So I think it's not really submission. I think that it's give and take. Like when you are trust that person, like you want to do what makes them happy or to put a smile on their face or something that you know will feel good. It's the same thing. Like that's some people's love language. That's her love language to me. She does things for me. Like she feeds me. Like that's her love language to me. I'm affectionate. That's my love language. Like I like to be affectionate. Like that's my way of showing you I love you. I tell you all the time I'm affectionate. I want to spend time with you. That's how I show love. Some people's love language are buying things. Like I also like to buy her presents. Like I like unexpectedly. That's just like my thing. It's like what I like to do. So it's a conversation that has to be had. And the same thing with the point about polygamy. I think the problem comes in when people don't say anything and then they go, "Oh yeah, I need to be with somebody else." If it works for you, it works for you. I think it's a personal decision. I don't think it's anything wrong with the idea. You just have to make sure you're both on the same page. Like you need to find somebody else who's okay with polygamy. The other problem is I feel like men that like polygamy, they like the idea of them being polygamous, but they want the woman to be like their freaking sex slave or something. Like they want them to be 100% committed to them and only them. Not polygamy works.
Great.
And your problem with that is what?
That's not how it works. You cannot expect somebody to be 100% committed to you when you express.
My love language is call me daddy. Look around. Look behind you.
Okay, that's trying to think about my brother like doing nasty things.
No, that is not my love. Look, Ilsa, that ain't my love language. Okay. Anyway, but let's get back to the you saying that like it's a problem though.
It is a problem. You can't want something and expect someone not to be able to do their own thing. Because basically what polygamy is an open relationship.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's an open relationship where you can do your own thing and I can do my own thing, but we're together as one. Like they're open with having multiple like partners. You can't expect that only to go one way though. You can't expect
that's gonna go downhill.
Yes. You can't expect
Fast.
as a man for you to just want something and desires and then expect your woman to just be there so she has to watch you be with multiple women and you're not but she can't go have another man. Like that's no, that's selfish. You can't do that. Like you need to establish that beforehand because some people are okay with polygamy and maybe you both are like, yeah, I'm cool with polygamy, right?
Okay, now Angela says, "Oh no,
Okay,
that's not poly. That's poly grip."
Go ahead.
It is a part of it.
Said,
I can't see her emoji. Put it back up
She
there.
said,
But you can't. Like there's some people who are like, I'm okay with poly, and that's fine. But then like you have to define your expectations of polyamorism.
I'll tell you what.
You have to like people's definitions of certain things, just like the submissive thing. It's subjective. And you have to be able to you really have to be able to explain what yours is and what the other person's is so that you're on the same page. Nobody should feel blind. If that happened to me, I just leave. I'm like, yeah, nah, you got me messed up.
She coming to your head.
You got me effed up. Like it wouldn't be me.
No. Elsa says stop. Hey, if Polly orders from the right side of the menu. If Polly orders from the right side, we talking about a girl named Polly, right? So if she orders from the right side of the menu, you know, on the left side of the menu is the appetizers. You know, you got the this and that.
great.
On the right side of the menu is the steak and lobster. You know, the vichyssoise and the New York cut steak and this and that. If anybody orders from anybody that goes out with Greg, you can have whatever you want on that left side of the menu. Get you the appetizers, the little fish sticks or whatever, you know,
the Kool-Aid.
the Kool-Aid. Make sure it's Kool-Aid, okay? Unflavored because you got sugar at the table, okay? When you go over to that right side of the menu,
things begin to happen.
You got New York steak and this and that. Look, and I'm just telling y'all, and if you say no, your mother, your aunt, your sister, your grandmother, somebody is going to pay the bill for this, okay? I'm going to pay the bill in cash.
Look, Negro, I'm going to tell you something right now.
You're going to pay the bill in ass. What?
In the end, you're going to pay the bill, what Granny say. In the end, you're going to pay the grill. You're going to pay the bill. In the end. It don't matter. It don't matter. You're going to pay.
Something has to happen.
Angela keeps saying no, but the definition of polygamy is literally the practice or custom of having more than one wife or husband.
Polygamy.
I'm playing Ilsa.
Polygamy. And polyamorous is basically the same thing. It's literally being involved in the practice of engaging in multiple
partners,
romantic relationships or partners with the consent of that person. So you can't sit there and tell the female, like, I'm going to have multiple sexual partners, or I want another wife, and expect her not to have another husband, or vice versa. Like, you can't.
She'll die.
Then you may need to find somebody who is okay with that.
Then I
have to find somebody who's okay with that. You can't find somebody who's okay with that. Okay, so do you guys know? You may not. His name is Malcolm MJ Harris. His name is MJ.
Malcolm Jamal Warner?
No. He runs his own. He's the first Black person to run an insurance agency 100%, like the biggest one in the country, life insurance agency. He's on Facebook. He's gay. He was with this man during COVID. I forgot the man's name. I think it was Corey or something. I don't remember. So they were together like during quarantine. They had moved in together. They weren't dating yet, like exclusively, like in a committed relationship.
Did he order from the left side of the menu or the right side?
Shut up, Eric. But everyone was asking. Everyone, actually, Angela, I've done research about it because it's a topic that comes up often. But everyone was asking when they were going to be together, like exclusively. So they had a conversation, right? And then it came out that the dude was polyamorous, like he enjoyed polygamy, and Malcolm is not. He wants monogamy. And so they split because like that was not okay. Like he wanted to go out and have other sexual partners, but Malcolm was not okay with that. Like they had a whole like video on it. He was not okay with this. My point is they spent all this time for nothing. They spent all this time investing in each other, but because that communication, like this could have been cleared up at the very beginning.
True.
Like this could have been this is one of those conversations that has to, like, if y'all in the talking stage, like you can avoid this entire thing before you get emotionally invested and committed. Yes, that's what I said. He's gay. Before you get invested in that person, before you are committed to that person, this needs to happen. Like when y'all are getting to know each other, what's your favorite color? What type of relationship do you want? Like, it's the same. It needs to be right up there because that's where problems come in. That's my problem.
And you know what? There's also with the submissiveness too. We never touched on this, and I didn't want to take it there anyway. But you know, those what is BDSM or BSDM or something like that? Those people, they believe totally in submission. All right, in the I'll just put it like it is, in the sexual aspect of submission, but I don't really want to get into that. Exactly, Nye. Like I said, poly is determined by the individuals involved.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So you
And
need
that's
to
all
have a
good.
conversation about it.
And that is all good. People, live your lives, all right? But understand, and now you're not going to agree with what I'm saying, all right? At the end of the day, we have to put morality into it, Yeah, everybody doesn't believe this, everybody doesn't believe that, but you got to put morality into it. Ilsa says God has come down from the cross and gone to the package store.
Why was I not going to agree with what you just said? Morals and values are extremely important in
But
relationships.
see, but with morals is
Determined by
basically,
an individual person.
but it's learned from the Bible.
Not necessarily. Everybody's morals and values are different. They're not all learned from the Bible. Not everybody's morals are learned from the Bible.
Look, the Bible is the
For
temple.
you in your life, but you can't
No, don't
expect
say
the whole
me.
world.
You don't know what I do. Okay, don't say that. I'm telling you what basically what it was for. The because you don't know me like that as far as what.
But I'm saying that might be for your life, but that's not how the whole world. You can't say that's morals are like the Bible is the premise for the entire world.
I didn't say that. I said it was meant to be the template,
an instruction
for
manual.
for what we live.
Everyone.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue. I don't.
No,
That
we're not arguing. It's
no, we're
a
not
whole
arguing.
discussion. It's not
Agree
for
to disagree, and we'll roll on.
Yeah, well, maybe I said the wrong word. Naya, I love you, right?
Yeah, I love you too.
No, so it's not it's not an argument. It's a
No,
disagreement.
it's not an argument.
So, and the reason I guess I'm slurring my words because I'm dead tired. So, it is what it is, though. It's been a long week and it's only Tuesday. Somebody immediately got on here and I thought today was Wednesday because he's like, you getting ready to start something for Wednesday, and I'm like, Wednesday? Today's Tuesday. So I wanted to seriously though. I mean, does anyone else have anything else to say about this subject that we had today? That we did the whole show on this one for real.
All right. Yeah, it was a deep show, and believe it or not, it needs to be more shows like this. As you can see, the response was off the chain. I mean, there was people coming out of the woodworks on this because a lot of folks just don't know. I mean, now for you to be you got wisdom beyond your years, young lady. I'm really
I was raised by my grandma, so shout out to her for all of my wisdom and knowledge.
but you know what I'm saying is you got to have like I said earlier, there is, like you just got that shout out to your grandmother, there is somebody you have a template for before that, somebody that taught you. And that's the same way that I think a man can teach his sons, by example and by telling them what to do. That's what my dad did to me, period.
It's the ways of old, man. I wish we could go back to them sometime, man, because
sometimes
they were more simpler. They were I don't know. I don't know.
Simple is not always good. Sometimes there has to be more complexity to it. Because that when you have simple, a lot of people think there's black and white. Sometimes there has to be gray.
Well said.
I think there's some things that I agree that I wish that like there's would be more simpler times. I think it was easier and I think that it worked and it was effective. But I also think that there's some things that need to go through progression. And I think that that's why we have to have that gray area. I agree. I was actually gonna start. That's so funny that Marcella said that. I don't know if you want to put that up, Greg, and read it.
Most definitely. Thank you, Ilsa. Ilsa, you were a huge part of this discussion. You came with the fire tonight. Thank you so much. Marcella says there needs to be mentoring programs for the youth regarding things of this nature. I agree.
Yeah, I've been doing that for 15 years. And including dragging them with me from state to state. You know what I mean? So I mean, mentoring programs. I started that in Indianapolis. And I bought some here to Tennessee with me. So, and then when I got here to Tennessee, same thing started happening again. You lead by example. Period.
We talked about. We've been talking since yesterday about relationships. Yesterday was about how do we know when someone is checked out. Today you're in the relationship, but men do you want to be, what are you calling your women submissive for, basically? Okay. I think we should flip it. You know what I'm saying? But there was something that I said I saw this post today, and it simply said, "Good morning, men only. Give women some relationship advice." Can we truly give women relationship advice?
I think you can give input. I think that both parties can get. Yes, my simple answer is yes, because if you're with a man, right? Men know men, right? Just like men understand for the most part, right? This can be subjective and argumentative for both genders,
Yeah.
but
Don't
men
give it all away because I might use it tomorrow.
men know what other men want. Like, you guys are men. You guys, there are things that you guys talk about that's like a guy code, whatever, right? And
You can't straddle a barbed wire.
So I'm gonna get you. I'm
I
really.
like that.
That's
I
the
like.
third one
We're
we
gonna
had.
have to take these whole things out and just put them in a little book.
and women know women, but you have to understand you're dealing your partner is of the opposite gender. So yes, there is input that they can give that can help you in the relationship because you're not a man.
Mm-hmm.
And argumentatively, they're not a woman. So yes, there are things that both can contribute
Sure.
that and should contribute in order to make the relationship stronger, right? There are certain things that are important to men that may not be important to women, and vice versa. There are certain things that men don't pick up on and women do, or vice versa. And it's just a balance. You have to, yes, you have to give that advice in any relationship, because otherwise it's not going to work. And there are things that are specific to men, and there are things that are specific to women that should be discussed and interchanged, because how else are we supposed to know? We're women.
I think that maybe
Well,
we could bring that to the table tomorrow.
my dad definitely coached my sisters. So I mean, sure, he bought a lot of stuff. You know, they were able to confide in him. So
Yeah, that's like
but
when
because
men teach their daughters like how a man's supposed to treat them. How else do you think that that's gonna come about? Like there are certain
who do
things.
you want? You know, I mean, what kind of man do you want your daughters to have, and
And
vice
vice
versa?
versa.
Right.
And see,
That's
therein lies
Moms teach their sons
that,
how to treat a man.
that's
exactly.
the discussion right there. Okay, what kind of, as a parent, what kind of woman do you want your son to wind up with? And ladies, what kind
Exactly.
of woman do you want your son? What kind of woman, the son, do you
Man, that's
want
a
your?
whole nother show.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about it right now. Everybody right now, all the people that are Ilsa, Marcella. I want you guys here tomorrow. What's a good topic for us to talk about tomorrow? Ilsa says, I'm 58 years old with a little gray hair, aka wisdom. Angela, remember the greatest teacher has the ability to be taught. Oh, yes. Another one.
Without a doubt.
Oh my
Period.
goodness. Core. Comment of
Core.
the day. Got a bottle of core for you, man. Did y'all notice that my core had a baby?
I see that it got smaller.
Core had a baby. Hold on. Whoa. Say hello to mother.
Mother core.
I can't.
Got him. So yeah, what should we talk about tomorrow? Because I want to keep
Tomorrow we
it.
should have our Pride Day because we didn't have it. I'm gonna be gone next week.
You'll be gone next.
Yeah, and I won't come back to the end of the month, and it's Pride Month, so
Where you going? You
I'm in
didn't
a
ask me
wedding
to
next
go.
weekend, so I have
You
to
did
get.
say that. You did say that.
Yeah.
So hey, look. So what I did want to do something like that. You know, Maurice, you're in a relationship with different cultures, correct?
Yeah.
And Naya, you're in a what do you call it?
A
Lesbian.
relation.
Yeah.
Lesbian, is that what you want to call it?
Yeah, basically. So tomorrow, let's get into that, okay?
Multiple culture.
Yeah, the culture.
Thank you, Angela.
You're married to
My wife is German and black.
Okay, and what the difficulties may have been for you two as a couple, getting together and meshing your lives, and Nye, you guys have always been talked about and misaligned.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that tomorrow. Let's get into that tomorrow.
Yep.
So we can send Nye off really good, and Sage better come on here.
She probably is not, but she is Puerto Rican and black.
Okay, so you got two things working against you.
Well, I'm Hispanic and black too.
It's a bunch of those relationships in my family. It's a bunch of Puerto Rican black too. So
I mean, we're gonna talk about it tomorrow.
Differences. There are definitely some differences.
But my personal family on my dad's side is a lot of Polish, German, and black.
I got some Sioux Indian and some red ball in me. What else I got to be? I got
some poach spook in me.
Michael Jackson, cousin. Michael Jackson, my cousin.
I got Southern poach spook in me. So.
See. You know, I mean, yeah, that's what we should talk about. How many cousins Michael Jackson really got in Gary?
Ooh.
I can't talk about nothing about that because I don't know nothing about that.
I'm just saying, everybody and their mama be like, yeah, man, Michael Jackson, that's my cousin.
last name Jackson, that's my cousin.
That's my cousin.
Now pass me that 40. Pass me that 40.
I remember when he used to be dancing on the porch in the rain.
Man, he for nickels. Now he making millions.
He didn't know what he was dancing in was pee because everybody peed in that corner.
Exactly.
It's funny because my family, Robinsons, and so anybody that's named Robinson, they'd be like, "Oh, you might be my cousin."
Yeah. I believe me, when I started doing my TV show, I had so many cousins and brothers and all of this old junk. Because I used to call everybody brother and sister. You know what I mean? Now, when I say you're my brother and my sister, you are. That's my sister Nye right there. That's my brother Maurice Bishop.
That's my brother Greg.
This is my family over here, man. I go, Ilsa, you came with that heat. Come here tomorrow, girl, because this is what we talking about. She came with that heat. Angela came with that heat.
Angela gotta come too.
Angela came with that heat. Come back tomorrow. My brother Joseph Fields came with that heat. Lisa Davis came with that heat. Marcella Amos. Marcella came with that heat, y'all.
Yeah.
Let's keep that going.
I guess we could have a whole book of stuff.
Yes. Let's keep that going. Crystal Wicks, thank you. Okay, everybody that tuned in tonight, appreciate you guys. Okay, this is Dopeliven TV Live. That's my sister Nye. That's my brother Maurice. Okay, we are out.
All right.
Talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out.